Have you ever wondered about this? How some tiny, almost laughably small habits can somehow spark these massive changes in your life, while other, huge, ambitious goals just completely fall flat. You know, why making your bed for a few days can lead to a total life makeover, but that promise to hit the gym 5 times a week is basically ancient history by February? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today, the real science behind building habits that actually stick.
So let's start with a story. This quote is from a writer named Jennifer Lee Dukes, and for pretty much her whole adult life, she just didn't make her bed. But then one day she thought, what the heck? And she tried it. She made her bed 4 days in a row. That's it. A tiny, almost meaningless act. But on that fourth day, something just clicked. She didn't just make the bed. She found herself picking up a stray sock, then loading the dishwasher, and before she knew it, she was reorganizing a chaotic Tupperware cupboard. That one small habit triggered a whole cascade of positive actions. She was, without even realizing it, tapping into a really powerful psychological principle.
And that phenomenon has a name, the domino effect. You know, as Stanford professor B.J. Fogg says, you can never change just one behavior. It's so true. Our actions are all linked together in this invisible web. So when you tip over one small domino, it can set off this amazing chain reaction, knocking down one behavior after another. And here's the kicker. This works for both good and bad habits, right? The habit of just checking your phone for a second can lead to mindlessly scrolling Instagram, which then leads to procrastinating on that thing you were supposed to do. It's a powerful force, and really understanding it is the first step to making it work for you.
So the big question is, how do we make sure we're tipping over the right dominoes, the ones that lead to good things? To figure that out, we've got to look under the hood and see why this chain reaction is so incredibly powerful to begin with. Turns out, it's not quite as simple as it looks on the surface.
This is where it gets really interesting. The deep reason the domino effect works so well, it's not actually about the behavior itself. It's about what that behavior signifies. Every small action you take, like making the bed, is like you're casting a small vote for a certain type of identity. You're telling yourself, hey, I'm an organized person. And because our brains are fundamentally wired to seek consistency, once we've cast that vote, we're almost automatically driven to take other actions that line up with that new self-image.
And that right there, that idea is the single most effective way to create change that actually lasts. See, it's not about focusing on what you want to achieve. It's about focusing on who you wish to become. Let's take a look at what we can call the identity-based habit engine.
Author James Clear has this brilliant way of breaking down behavior change into 3 layers, kind of like an onion. On the very outside, you have your outcomes. That's the results, right? Losing weight, writing a book, whatever. The next layer in is the process. These are the systems and the habits you put in place. But at the very core, the deepest, most powerful layer is your identity, what you believe about yourself. Now, most of us try to change from the outside in. We start with the outcome we want. But real, lasting change, it happens from the inside out. It has to start with your identity. So here's the crucial mental flip. Instead of saying, my goal is to lose 20 pounds, your goal becomes, I want to become the type of person who moves more every day. Instead of, I want to read more books, it's, I want to become a reader. Every single time you take a small action, walking for 5 minutes, reading just 1 page, doing a few push-ups, you're casting a vote for that new identity. You're literally proving to yourself, one tiny win at a time, that this is who you are now.
Okay, so we've got our identity-based engine ready to go. But what's the fuel that's going to keep this thing running? I'll give you a hint. It's not willpower. It's emotion. More specifically, it's the positive feelings you get along the way. We're always told that building habits is all about delayed gratification, right? You just have to suffer through the workout now so you can get the reward of being healthier way down the line. All the focus is on the benefits you'll get after you're done. But here's a twist that the research shows. The single best predictor of whether you will stick with a habit for the long haul, it's not the reward you get at the end. It's the positive feeling, the actual enjoyment you feel during the activity itself. This is the whole idea behind something called the upward spiral theory.
So what the upward spiral theory basically says is that when you genuinely enjoy doing something, your brain creates this kind of unconscious craving to do it again. It's almost like a healthy addiction. That good feeling you get from, say, a nice run in the park makes your brain tag that experience, even your running shoes or the park itself, as a source of future pleasure. And that triggers a non-conscious wanting to go back and do it again.
And this creates this incredible self-reinforcing loop. You feel good while you're doing something. That feeling creates an unconscious pull to do it again. You repeat it, and as you do, you start to build up these real, tangible resources, what scientists call vantage resources. Maybe you become more mindful. Maybe you get physically fitter. And these new strengths make it even easier to enjoy the activity the next time around, which makes that positive loop even stronger. So, if the secret is to actually feel good during our habits, how do we make that happen? I mean, you can't just force yourself to enjoy something, right? Well, no, but what you can do is become an architect of your own choices. You can literally design your environment to make the right choices feel not just easy, but enjoyable. So here are 3 super simple strategies from choice architecture. First, set better defaults. You want to go for a run first thing? Well, lay out your workout clothes the night before, so it's the easiest, most automatic choice you can make. Second, use the primacy effect. We are way more likely to choose the options we see first. Want to eat healthier? Make a rule for yourself that you have to look at the salad section of a menu before anything else. And third, and this one is huge, plan for your weak moments. Design your environment for the tired, stressed out, vulnerable version of you, not the super motivated version.
Now, it's one thing to build a new habit, but let's be real. What about those old bad habits that just refuse to die? It is so easy to feel like a total failure when we slide back into those old patterns. But guess what? There's a scientific reason for that, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you being weak-willed.
It's called behavioral momentum theory, and it's such a great analogy. Think of your habits like they're moving objects. A behavior that you've done over and over and over again for years, one that's been reinforced a million times, has built up a ton of mass and momentum. It's like a freight train barreling down the tracks. It takes a tremendous amount of force to slow it down or change its direction. Its persistence isn't a sign of your weakness. It's a sign of its reinforcement history.
And this is a really crucial distinction to make. We often think the strength of a habit is just about how often we do it, its response rate. But the true measure of a habit's power is its resistance to extinction. That is, how long it keeps going even after the rewards have stopped. A habit with a rich history of reinforcement has enormous momentum, and it will keep going for a long, long time, which is why just deciding to stop is often not enough.
So when you put all of this together, what's the big takeaway? The path to building habits that actually last isn't about gritting your teeth and just relying on pure willpower. It's about being a clever strategist. It's about starting that first domino by choosing a new identity, fueling that change with genuine enjoyment, and designing an environment that makes it all feel as effortless as possible, all while understanding the powerful momentum of the habits you're trying to change.
So that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. Forget the massive, life-changing overhaul for a second. What is the one tiny, almost trivial domino that you can tip over today? Not to change your entire life by tomorrow, but just to cast one small vote for the person you want to become.